Satgurnaat Maharaj ki jai. Hi Amanda. Hi Dana. Oh, I have to change the view because Dana, you're small and I want to make sure I can see you. Okay, there we go. So we might have a pretty small class. Sometimes people join a little bit late, but you're here now. What I have in store is like pretty mellow and kind of like restorative, therapeutic, gentle. But is there anything special that you're working on, Dana, or aches, pains, anything? Because it feels like a more private class, we can focus on you.
Hi. I'm so happy that I could join this week. I missed you last week. Plus, as you can probably see, I don't really have space for handstands. So I'm like, um, but so yeah, I just recently got back into doing some more like working with weights and sort of doing more strength training. So the whole like back side of my body is feeling quite tight and a little bit like intense.
We're on the
Um,
same page. I feel like some of the therapeutic stuff is gonna, I mean, it's gonna work with everything, but I've been really focusing on like some spinal stuff that I think will help expand the back of your body. And with weight training, it's even more important to do, this like therapeutic resetting. So, woohoo! Sounds fun.
I'm excited. Yeah, yeah. Just keeping introducing new stuff to the body. Just keeping it fresh. But yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. And hi, Diana. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here because we have similar hip things happening. So I will just cue you whenever I feel inspired, like something might be useful. But I know that you're really good at listening to your body. So, of course, modify anything that just doesn't feel quite right. But I hope that we can do some things that will help and feel awesome. Yay. Um, so, I didn't warn you in the email, but we're going to start with a little bit of breathing with some props. And you don't need anything fancy. It could literally be pillows from your bed. But try to set up a ramp so your head is a little higher. This is going to just help to open up our lungs. And I'll show you what it looks like when I'm on the props just so you can get a sense. I've got 2 pillows. One's a little bigger, so it sets my head up higher, and then I put a blanket over them so it kind of smooths it out. And take your time, because there's just a few of us, so we don't have to rush. Oh, Dana is an expert. Is that comfy enough for you, Diana? Yeah. Okay. You might want like one more prop, Diana, because I can see that it's like smushing and deflating a little bit. And I will just start the official welcome as you guys get comfy on your props. So, hi everybody. Welcome. Today's class is going to focus on rejuvenating and renewing. And so we'll start with some breathing exercises to get us connected to the flow of prana. And then even as we move and explore, our goal is going to be to stay attuned to that pranic flow. So if you haven't already found yourself on your comfortable support, take a moment to set up and check in with your low back. If you're a little too close to the bolster, your low back might arch a lot, and we don't want to feel like we're in an extreme back bend. So make sure that the back of the head feels supported. The front of the throat should feel like there's space. And there might be a little heart opening, but more in the upper thoracic and not really so much at the lumbar. And so let's take a moment to set up our feet. I like walking my feet nice and wide and letting my knees knock in. You're welcome to just keep the knees pointed upward. You can extend the legs, but move around until you feel so supported that it's almost like you don't have to think about your body. Diana, try tucking the chin just a little bit and lengthening through the back of the neck And it should be comfortable, so if that's not comfortable for you, you don't have to stay there. Hi, Danny. Welcome. It's your lucky day. We're doing some restorative stuff. So grab some cushions and meet us here. And once you've found your comfortable position, just start to observe the breath. And please give yourself permission at any time to adjust the body. Sometimes when you're in a position for a while, it stops being comfortable, and find a way to keep feeling relaxed. And as the focus shifts to the breath, try to feel the expansion not just in the chest, but all the way down the ribs, even to the belly. And if it's helpful, you can bring your hands to your belly almost as guidance for the breath to flow extra low. Try to feel that three-dimensional expansion of the belly lifting, but also broadening slightly. And then bring some extra focus to the exhale. In our culture, we overemphasize the inhale. And so bring a lot of dedication to this very important part of releasing and letting go. And see if you can even slow down the exhale. And then your inhale is natural, it's full, but the emphasis for our pranayama today is slow, smooth, full, complete exhale. And you never want to feel like you're holding your breath, but if it feels safe and inviting, just notice if there's a little bit of space at the bottom of the exhalation. Just a moment to be empty and almost allow the breath, the inhalation, to come to you. You don't have to reach out for it. It's almost as if you were observing a really beautiful butterfly and you really wanted it to land on your finger. You would wait, you would be patient and still, and it might come to you. But it definitely isn't going to come if you just reach out and try to grab it. Be receptive. Allow the inhale to just land gently upon you. And then emphasize that slow, smooth, full exhale. Option to pause, bottom of the exhale. Just make sure it feels right. No strain allowed ever in class, but especially not today when we're really working with our nervous system. And the magic of working with the nervous system is when we can relax very deeply, our body can heal. It can rejuvenate and recharge. And so let's invite that possibility for our class today to just open to restoring. And we'll just take a few more breaths in silence. And one more full exhale. And then reach your fingertips towards your heels and just make some gentle circles with the arms, just allowing the chest to open without straining. I really enjoy having my arms at T when I'm on a bolster because the pecs start to open, the shoulder blades gently glide towards one another. If you'd like to keep reaching the arms overhead, you can, or you can just stop in a place where it feels good and take one of those slow, smooth, steady breaths. And then let the feet come a little further away from the body. Let them go a little bit wider so it just feels like you have more space in the hips and the knees and the ankles. And make some really gentle windshield wipers. And because your spine is slightly extended, allow the windshield wipers to be really tiny. Right? There's not too much movement in the spine, but just starting to feel the way the legs interact with the hip socket. This could be a really good awareness exercise for you, Diana, of just feeling like what feels safe in your range of motion in your hips in a really supportive, gentle way. And something that's really useful to me is finding that place where the knee that is opening off to the side is still supported without just letting it go. So there is a gentle engagement in the legs, but think more like effortless effort, where your legs don't just flop over. You feel that you could pause at any moment. In fact, try that. Just pause right where you are and notice how the core has to very gently engage to support you. And then just for balance sake, come back to center, go the other way, and pause wherever you were. And in today's class, and then you can continue on your own. Today's class will be exploring this deep core work that you might not even consider core work because it's so subtle. And I have found that this is what has made me the absolute strongest. Go figure. And next time you come to center, allow the heels to start to glide forward slightly at an angle, so it's like a very tiny straddle with the legs. If it feels good, you can reach the arms overhead and point the toes and just take one moment to stretch the body out. And then very slowly bring the knees in for support. Release the arm that's closest to the yoga mat and just gently make your way off of your prop onto your belly. And you can scooch your prop off to the side. You probably want at least 2 feet so it doesn't get in your way. And just so we're all on the same page, if you want to hit play on the first track, now's a good time. And then lay back down and make sure your right arm is closest to me. So I apologize if you've got to swivel your head around to the other side. And I'm going to hit play on my music too. And once you're resettled, just take one moment to explore that same breathing pattern here. And so natural inhale to the belly, and then just that slow, smooth, full exhale. Maybe feel yourself sinking towards the earth as you exhale. The earth just absorbing any of your tension, any of your stress, where it becomes neutral and just pure energy. And then reach the arms overhead and bring your forehead to the mat. Lift just the left leg and then lower left and switch just the right leg. And move at your own pace, one leg at a time. And notice if your tendency is to lift very high or to over squeeze the glute, and just see if you can let this be a little more natural, almost as if you were a baby, just like chilling on your belly, not quite sure that your feet are your own. And then the next time the left leg lifts, just play with lifting the right arm. The head can stay down for now. And just feel that long half X from right fingertips to left toes and release. And then right foot, left arm. And continue on your own and let it be really gentle. Almost as if I said, okay, you have to do this for 1 hour and I'll give you $100. So you're like, okay, well, might as well conserve some energy. It's like, how minimal can your effort be here? And then set both feet down. Keep the arms down and grip the fingertips a little bit so you have this connection to the earth. Lift just the right leg. Let it cross over the left so the right hip peels up. And very slowly roll onto the left side. Pause on the left side and imagine you're like kicking a soccer ball. Let the right foot kick forward and drag the right arm back. And we'll try that again. So slowly come onto the belly. Right leg lifts and reaches, peeling your body. So feel the hip peel, then one vertebra at a time. And then the hands still reaching so you don't fall onto your back. And then just take that little kick. As the leg goes forward, then the hand can reach back. One more time on this side. Feel the foot peel the hip, peel the vertebra, shoulder and head are last. And then take that little kick. And just pause for a moment on this last kick. Circle the ankle a little bit. Go the opposite direction. And then bend the knee and just circle the knee a couple of times so the thigh bone moves in the hip socket. Let the sole of the right foot come behind you. Reach the arms overhead and just kick down into the heel. We're not doing a bridge pose, but just feel the muscles of bridge pose illuminate on the right side of the body. And then lift the right leg, grab behind the right knee. I'm running out of real estate to the right, so if you need to scooch over to the left, you can. And kick the right leg forward and let that slowly engage the core. And take a couple of these to make your way up to sort of a boat pose. And try to enjoy the ride. Notice each time how a little bit more can engage in the leg and the core. You guys are so strong. Next time you arrive, pause there and just lean from side to side. Let your hips get a little massage here. And then extend the left leg down and sit up a little taller. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, not in an intense way, but just like feel that energy. And then gently kick the leg into the hands and notice how you have to work a little harder to squeeze the shoulders. Make sure you're breathing and try rocking from side to side. Whenever muscles engage, I try to make sure I can still move and stay fluid. And then release the squeeze. Kick the leg forward a little bit more and just let your body round a little bit. And then bend the knee, pull, and let the shoulder blades squeeze. And just play with that on your own. And the leg doesn't need to straighten. You don't have to go as far as you can or anything like that. But just almost as like a counter pose from that squeezing. And then place the sole of the right foot down, left hand to right knee. Gently twist to the right. If you like the feeling of those muscles engaging to squeeze the shoulders, try it here and just notice if it gives you a little more space to gaze to the right. Take a couple of breaths. And then lift the hands, push into the right foot, slowly circle all the way to the left, plant the left hand, and lift the hips any amount. It can be just a little bit, it can be kind of big. And let's do that again. So this time let's grab onto the shin and just notice how that's a little different. Play with squeezing the shoulders and then rounding. And then take your twist to the right. Take a full breath in each movement so you get to experience the inhale and that slow, full exhale. Unfurl all the way to the left, letting the hips lift. And then gently set the hips down and release both hands behind you. Take a moment to just paw out the mat and notice any difference between the left arm and the right arm just after that really gentle exploration. Bring a little extra awareness to the muscles behind the heart. I've been working with these muscles a lot in my personal practice, and it feels really good for me. So if it feels good for you, you can keep playing with that little bit of extra engagement. And then very slowly lower to elbows. Lower the spine, let the heels drag in just a little bit. Reach the fingers towards the heels and play with rolling up one vertebra at a time. And we're going to have a few different opportunities to explore the single vertebra movement. And so really keep yourself honest. Like, can I actually feel each vertebra? And try setting one vertebra down at a time. We're going to do this a few times, so move at your own pace. And if there's an area where you feel like you have numbness or you just can't articulate, pause there. Let a breath cycle happen and just roll up and down in that single point. A lot of times we have the muscular strength, we just don't really have the awareness. And so just by bringing extra attention to these areas, we can learn to articulate a little more fluidly. Let's just do one more for now. And the next time you recline, let the heels slide out, reach the arms overhead, full body stretch, lift the right leg, cross it over, roll onto the belly, and we'll do that same thing on the other side. So it'll start with lifting the left foot, letting it cross the right leg, rolling onto the right side, so probably away from me. Once you're on the side, you can kick left leg forward and drag left hand back. And then come back to center, roll onto the belly. Once you've got the sequence, you're welcome to move at your own pace. But just make sure you're moving in a really gentle way, because we want to stay in this parasympathetic aspect of the nervous system where we're restoring, letting all of the cells be rejuvenated. We're building up instead of breaking down. And the next time you kick, you can bend the left knee, let it come behind you, slowly roll onto the back, and then grab behind the left thigh and take some of these little kicks. And even if you're strong enough to get there in one go, enjoy the rocking motion. And the right leg can do whatever feels right to you. And we'll all meet up here, and we'll take a moment to kick the leg into the hand, squeeze the shoulders a little. Oh, that looked nice, Amanda. And just keep rocking from side to side, giving your hips that little massage. And then bend, actually round forward, let the leg kick a little bit more. And then oppose that, bend the knee, squeeze the shoulders. And imagine you're just staying in the middle of your flexibility. Even if you could go a lot further, you're not trying to find your end range here. Nice. And the next time the knee bends, place the sole of the foot down, right hand to knee, and just gently twist to the left. Option to gently squeeze shoulders together, and I find that gives me a little extra space to gaze back. Breathe into the back of the neck, and then lift the hands and untwist to the right, plant the right hand, and lift up any amount, or not at all. And then we'll do that one more time. So hips down, take your take your shin this time. Same thing, just a little squeeze. Notice the lengthening of the spine. And then let yourself round just by softening. Just melt. Imagine there's just no tension in the body. Kind of like how it's hard for a baby to sit upright. Just like become a little doughy, chubby baby for a moment. Take a couple more pulses. And the next time you're sitting upright, sole of the left foot down. Take your twist. Make sure you're breathing. And unfurl all the way to the right. Set the hips down. We didn't do our hip circle on this side. So recline, left hip up, and just take a couple of circles just to keep it balanced from the other side. And then circle that left ankle as well. And then roll onto the back, bend the knees, walk the feet in, reach hands towards heels. And at your own pace, just explore these single vertebra bridge poses. Really trying to feel how much control you have over your spine. And be very patient if it feels like, wow, this is hard and I can't do it. Let this almost be like a before test. And we'll see if our subtle core work helps us just get a little more articulation. Heels slide forward, hands reach overhead, big stretch, natural breath. And then cross left leg over right, returning to the belly, hands underneath the shoulders, and push into the hands, sending hips back to the heels. Flatten the tops of the feet, let the hips sink, and push into one shin at a time to massage the forehead. We'll take some waves here. So push down into the shins, start to roll forward, and feel how the front edge of the body is sucking up towards the back edge as you slowly shift shoulders over wrists. Pause, drag the hands back, let the front of the body gently open, but make sure there's not a lot of pressure in the low back. And then push the hips back. I know all of you have done these with me before. So if you feel ready for a bigger wave, you are welcome to add that in. Or we can just stay with these smaller, gentler waves, just waking up the movement between each vertebra. And the next time you float to table, adjust the knees so the hips feel supported. Do the same thing with the hands and the shoulders. And play with just kicking one leg straight back, keeping the toes on the ground. And notice that subtle engagement in the core. And then switch legs. And I know you guys are all strong and have like very physical practices. And so again, I want to just invite you to open to the idea that even though this feels easy, it really is waking up so much strength, so much integration, so that you can do all the amazing things that you do without any pain. The next time the right leg is back, try gliding the left fingertips forward, but keep them on the ground. And then if you want, you can hover the hand and the foot for a moment. Flex the foot and just try lengthening through the heel and the calf. And then set the left hand down, push into the left hand, and let the hips start to stack. It is really tricky to balance with the left shin back, so you can kickstand it over to the left a little bit more, or you can keep that challenge and feel all those little wobbles. I actually really like doing that. And take one moment just to give yourself a little massage on the hip, on the glute. And then reach the fingertips towards the foot and gently lift the leg into the hand and squeeze the hand into the leg. Oh, nice. That was a good self-adjustment for everybody. Take a couple of breaths here and just see how much you can relax, even though there's a little bit more engagement. And then similar to our soccer ball kick from before, play with kicking the right leg forward into a short lunge. Lift the right hand, let the hips melt. You can adjust the angle of the left foot. Deep, expansive breath through the front of the body. And then as you exhale, kick into the right leg and let the right side of the body really arc and round. Just make sure the head is following the spine and the neck's not doing something weird like this. And then let's play with repeating that a few times. So right hand down, glide the right leg back. Hover the left hand. Take a breath here. Let's actually do a couple of pulses. So hand and leg lift and lower a couple of times. And then set the left hand down, peel open. Option for hand on side body if you like that, or keep it open. And then take your kick right into the lunge. Feel the hips melt. Make any adjustments so there's not any pain or overstretching. And then kick into the right heel. The right side body really lengthens. Try to feel this opposing action of the right hip reaching back and the whole side body reaching up and out of the hip and melting. One more. Feel free to do it on your own or stay with me. Right hand down, right foot glides back and then hovers right into our bird dog. And then set the left hand down, peel everything open. If it's comfortable, just keep the hand lifted and feel this big, expansive moment. And then right hand back as the right leg kicks. Set the foot down and open through the chest. Let's add one arm circle here, big sweeping circle with that top arm. Notice if there's just a little more space in the front of the body when you do that. And then kick into the leg and just take a breath through the whole right side of the body. Wiggle the right fingertips a couple of times. And then right hand down, glide the left foot back. And just take one moment to kick into the right heel so you get a nice calf stretch or a little opening through the back of the right leg. And then we'll switch sides. So right knee in. We'll start by gliding the left foot back and then gliding the right hand forward. Then let them hover. And just oppose hand and foot and feel the whole body lengthen. Imagine you're creating space between each vertebra and then let the front of your body almost hug up to meet the front of the spine so you've got a little more support along the front of the spine. Take a breath here and then right hand down, slowly peel open away from me. Option to kickstand the right shin for easier balance. And then bring the left hand to the left side body and give yourself just a little massage on the outside of the left hip, the left thigh, the obliques. And then left hand to thigh and just squeeze arm and side body towards one another and just notice how the whole body lifts in a really nice even way. I'm shaking on this side. Apparently my right hip is having a lot more trouble. Maybe you'll notice some asymmetry. And then we gently start to kick the left foot forward and let the hips melt. Lift the left hand for a twisted lunge. Make any adjustments to the angle of the right shin, the right thigh. There shouldn't be any pressure or pulling here. And then kick into the left foot. Take your nice, easy side bend and feel the left sit bone reaching back almost towards the right heel, just a little bit. So there's a big arc. And then slowly place the left hand down, glide the left foot back, and we'll do it again, starting with a couple of pulses in our bird dog. And now that you know the sequence, if you want to sync it with your breath, you can totally go for it. There is no right or wrong, but I can cue the breath just to give you some guidance, inhaling to lift the arm. And as you exhale, set down just the hand. Take a steady breath to lengthen. And then slowly exhale as you rotate open so you have that strength of your exhale to help you balance. Feel free to find a drishti. The hand can reach up or compress the side body. Take a full breath in and out here. And then we'll transition on the exhale. So on your next exhale, glide the hand back as you kick the foot forward and over to the left. So there's a lot of space. Inhale, open into your twist, and then exhale for the side bend. Take one extra breath to open through the lungs, literally creating more space for your next breath. And then set the left hand down. We'll do it one last time on this side. So left foot glides back. You can inhale to lift into bird dog, exhale to lower, and just take your gentle pulses and notice if the back wants to arch here, and just see if you can use your deep core muscles to counter that tendency, keeping a neutral spine. And then the hand releases down, slowly peel open. Option to keep that top hand lifted, flex the left foot, and just rest and experience of expansion for a moment. And then very gently kick the left foot forward. Drag the left hand back into your twisted lunge. Let the hips melt and make any adjustments for this final lunge so you can get just a little extra space in the spine and the hips. And then kick into the left heel, big side arc. Take a breath here. And then lower the left hand. Glide the left foot back and flex the left toes under, and just take a couple of rocks forward and back to open up through the back of the leg. And bring your awareness to the back of your body as well. Push into the hands and just feel the shoulder blades broaden. Notice how the front edge of the body can suck in and up to support the spine. And it's almost like the back edge of the body can expand and relax just a little bit without rounding. Step the right foot back into a full plank and just shift the hips from side to side so you can lift one hand at a time. And imagine the hands are kind of in something sticky, so there's a little bit of resistance as the hand slowly pulls away. Nice. And then come back to center, bend the knees, let the hips reach back like a leapfrog, push into the hands and just feel that long line up through the shoulders to the hips, and then slowly let the back of the legs unfold. You can pedal out the feet or just breathe and let the legs expand as if they were like an inflatable raft filling evenly with air. And then bend the knees, slowly release them down and come up to standing on your knees. Turn to face me. Okay. Lift the right foot and just take a moment to wobble around on the left leg. And wobbling is really good. It's all of these muscles finding balance. So if it feels too easy, challenge yourself by kicking your leg out in all different kinds of directions. Yeah. And the foot can always come down if you need a pause. And then step the right foot over to the side when you're ready. You don't need to rush. And you guys both look perfect. So I'm kind of going to assume that the foot naturally steps to where you want it to be. But give yourself permission to inch it out a little bit, make sure the hips feel supported, and then dramatically scoop the arms forward and up, and just feel the length from the knee all the way up the spine. Take a moment to, again, feel the front edge of the body interacting with the back edge. So there's a little bit of lifting and lengthening. And then bend the right knee and just let the body gently sway. And take a couple of pulses like this and keep the weight in the right heel so there's no pressure in the front of the right knee. And the next time you sway, we're going to go into the twisted lunge that we were in before. So the left hand will drop, the left knee will swivel, draw a big circle with the right arm. And if it feels inviting and not tight, you can reach back for the foot and just take a couple of breaths into the front of the hip. And that looks like great alignment, Diana, but I know you have to be careful of your hips right now, so feel free to back off if it just feels like it's pushing too much into the front of your hip. And then release that foot. Before we came into a side bend, this time we'll come into a side plank. So lift the back knee. You can pause right here in a supported side plank, or you can shift the weight into the left hand, swivel the left heel down, and let the right foot stagger or float for just a moment. And then set the right foot back down to where it came from. Release the right hand, kick into the right foot just to bow and melt forward. Take a breath here. Check in. Make sure adding in a challenging pose didn't take you out of your relaxing experience. If it did, see if you can move a little differently on the second side to stay nice and relaxed. Push down into the right foot, slowly rolling up. Open the whole front of the body and feel the back body lifting the spine. So you've got more expansion and openness in the front of the body. Take one breath here. And then release the hands down. Bring the right knee in to meet the left. Turn to face me. We'll go the second way. And if your knee is feeling sensitive, feel free to grab a blanket because that will help you stay more relaxed and supported. So now we'll be balancing on the right leg. And remember, if it feels easy, challenge yourself. Straighten the left leg, kick it out at different angles. Every different angle that you kick it out at is going to awaken a different muscle or a different muscle movement pattern. Nice. And then see if you can connect to your breath as you explore here. Eventually set the left foot off to the side. And slow, dramatic scoop up, lengthening from knee up the spine. Take a moment to just feel the way the front of the body and the back of the body interact. And then weight stays in the left heel as you just bend into the knee and shift. And take a couple of pulses here. And just like I cued earlier, see if you can dial back your effort. And let it feel like you're not even really a body. You're just energy floating, waving through space. Are you a particle? Are you a wave? Nobody knows. You're both. You're neither. I'm not sure. And the next time the knee starts to bend, let the right hand reach towards that twisted lunge. The right knee is going to swivel so that the hips are squared to the left now. Option to bend the right knee and reach back with the left hand. But notice the sensation in the right hip socket. And if it feels tight or sore or strainy, just release the foot and lift up instead. Take a breath wherever you are. And then two options. You can go into the side bend from before, or you can lift the back knee, swivel the back heel down and stay in a supported side plank, or hover the left foot and stagger it in front of your right, or let it float for a moment. Make sure you can breathe wherever you are. And then set the left foot back to where it came from. Set the right knee down and push into the hands just to melt over that left leg for one moment. Sway the hips from side to side. If you use a blanket, you can leave it. I don't think it'll get in the way for now. Lift the back knee and take a couple of pulses to send momentum over the left foot. And then step the right foot up to meet the left. Bend the knees really, really, really generously so the belly rests on the thighs. And let the head hang for a moment. Bring your awareness up through the spine, just tracing the pathway of each vertebra to meet the sacrum. And then let the sits bones get really heavy so they're dropping towards the heels. Yeah, so bend the knees even more, almost like you're going towards a chair pose. And then slowly let the pelvis start to level. And notice how that's pulling on the bottom of the spine. And try stacking one vertebra at a time. You shouldn't feel any strain in the back or the neck. If you do, put your hands on your thighs so you've got more support. Notice how the front edge of the body can suction up to meet the back edge to support the spine here. Nice job, rolling up slowly. Pause for a moment at the top and just notice what it feels like to stand. Observe a couple of breath flows. And now you can move your blanket off to the side if you used it. Walk the feet out underneath your hips. Shift the weight from side to side and just notice where the weight falls in the feet and see if you can bring a little more weight into the heels, a little more weight into the ball of the foot so it's dispersed evenly from front to back. Let the hands be heavy and slowly shift the weight into the balls of the feet, lifting the heels, and reach the hands back just a little bit. And then lower the heels down in just a baby chair pose. Bend the knees, reach the sits bones back, and scoop the air up with the hands. And then melt over the legs like where we just came from. And let's do another one of those slow roll-ups, really trying to feel the articulation from the bottom of the spine all the way up. Take your time, and just like before, if there's an area where it feels hard to articulate, you can pause there. Try going down a little bit and then rolling back up. When you arrive, sweep the hands back, come on to the balls of the feet. Take a breath here. Sometimes it can help to gently traction the legs towards one another to get a little more strength in the core. And then set the heels down, let the weight sink into the heels, scoop the air up. If you want to go a little deeper into your chair pose, you can. And we'll do that one more time, and take your time. If there is a moment in that sequence that's more useful to you, you can spend more time there. Starting with the roll up. And then coming onto tiptoes and opening through the front of the body. And then landing in your chair pose. Giving yourself permission to go deeper if your body wants it, but trying to stay in that relaxed attitude. And then pause in chair pose and play with lifting one heel at a time. Just giving the ankles a little bit of work to do. Try to stay relaxed. Notice where you start to feel it in the legs, maybe in the quads, the glutes, or the hamstrings. And then if it feels good and you want a little bit more, try coming on to both toes. And then just make sure that's not putting pressure in the knees. If it is, reach the hips back a little more to oppose that pressure. One more breath here, and then power into the feet to come all the way up onto tiptoes. And even though you're still on your tiptoes, you should feel just a little relief now that the knees aren't bent. Slowly set the heels down. Feel yourself land in those footprints. And then just take a little walk around the space, just absorbing the warmth in the legs, maybe the mobility you've gained in the feet. try to notice your spine as you walk. And walking does take core support, and it's this deep core support that we don't really think about. We're not really conscious of, but it's there. Try to become a little more aware of it and see if you can imagine a little extra space between each vertebra. Notice how the front of the body interacts with the back of the body. I've sort of been going in circles in one direction, so if you're doing that, try circling in the other direction, just so one of your legs doesn't get shorter than the other. I just made that up. And then make your way to a wall or a door. You're not going to be here very long. Don't worry if you can't see me. We're not doing anything too fancy. But let's start with a couple of springs at the wall. So imagine you're doing a push-up at the wall and then bend your elbow like cricket wings and then push off and just bounce a couple of times. Notice the warmth in your shoulders. You can change directions so the hands tilt a little to the right, a little to the left, just warming up different aspects of the shoulders and the core. And then if that feels good and you want a little bit more, walk the feet a little further from the wall. And so then as you bounce, it's almost just like a little extra weight. Make sure the wrists are okay with that. Make sure there's no strain in the neck. Keep breathing. And then bounce at center and walk in towards the wall. Extend your left arm to a half Y and just gently start to peel the heart away from the wall for a little bit of a pec stretch. You don't want it to feel too intense, so dial back wherever you are and just make sure you can breathe. You can also bend the elbow here, and it stretches a different muscle, but you can try it and see if that is more useful to you. And then reach the right arm out to a Y, roll the other way. Take a couple of breaths. And I know there's a lot to gain without necessarily feeling a stretch sensation. So just back off a little bit so that you don't strain anywhere. Try pushing the right hand into the wall to activate the front arm line. And notice how that changes the stretch. Makes it a little more of an eccentric experience where the muscle is strong as it stretches. If you did so on the other side, you can play with bending the elbow, and same thing, try pushing the arm into the wall as you stretch those muscles. Make sure you can breathe. And then come back to center and take a few more of those bounces. And with the arms a little after that stretch, you can get creative with the bounces. You can move a little bit more to one side. We have done a lot to warm up the spine, so give yourself a little bit of room to explore the relationship between the shoulders and the spine. It can be kind of fun to lift one leg and give yourself a little bit more room to defy gravity. Imagine if you were doing this on the floor. It would be like almost like break dancing. And then come back to center for one moment. Hands underneath shoulders. We'll do a standing Cobra pose. So drag the hands down and let the front of the body open. The gaze will start to shift up towards the ceiling. And as the hands drag down, just notice the sensation of the belly in the wall, like lifting as the shoulder blades draw down. And just take a couple of breaths. And then flip over so your back is on the wall. And walk the feet about a foot or two away from the wall so it's very easy to press the sacrum into the wall, not in an intense way. And then feel the low back against the wall, the back of the heart, and the back of the head, right? Based on the curves of our spine, this is where we should be making contact. walk the feet in just a little bit so it feels like you have even more support. And very slowly start to push the back of the heart into the wall. And notice how you can use the ribs and the lungs to start to push the vertebra below the heart one at a time. So even though the spine rounds away from the wall, you can use your core to very slowly touch each of those vertebrae to the wall. The hands can hang heavy or they can slide down the legs. And once you get to the sacrum, try going back up the wall. And like I cued before, if there's an area where you really feel like you can't articulate that one vertebra, stay there. Exhale, roll down a little. Inhale, roll back up. And do that a couple of times. Make sure you're breathing, preferably out of the nose if you can. And just do this a couple of times. And this is my favorite way to explore finding a little more articulation in the spine, because the way that you interact with the wall gives you so much feedback. It really can help turn on muscles that haven't been working. And the big aha moment for me was when I started feeling how the front edge of the body suctioned in and up to allow for the spinal articulation. And it's almost like the front of the body does most of the work and the back of the body just responds. Feel free to adjust how wide the feet are, how far away they are from the wall. We'll just be here for a couple more breaths. If you want to roll all the way down into a forward fold and let the head hang heavy, you're welcome to do that. Feel free to nod the head or shake it no. And then as long as we're at the wall, let's just do one more slow roll up. Take a couple of breaths so that you're really moving slowly. And just notice if you've got a little more awareness of the spine. And once you've made it to the top without rushing, you can step away from the wall and just go for one more walk around your space, noticing the awareness you have of your spine, the balance in the body, and your ability to breathe through all of this. And gently make your way back to the mat, facing the same direction as before, so the right arm is towards the screen. And paw the feet out underneath the hips, drop the hands. Take a moment to come onto tiptoes. We'll do that sequence one more time where we float the heels and then lower them into chair pose. This time, instead of folding forward, shift the weight into the left foot and slowly drag the right foot back into the right, and feel how you can reach the spine up away from the front of the ankle into Virabhadrasana 1. Arms reach up and then let them open to a cactus. Option to let the left foot walk over to the left. And take a couple of breaths here just to explore the expansion in the front of the body, the relationship between back and front. And then on an exhale, slowly lengthen the front leg and just start reaching forward. And then inhale, bend the knee, open the front of the body. Exhale to kick and reach, not quite a Parsvottanasana, but just pulsing from having the front of the body open and then having the back of the body open. And it is okay to round the spine as the back of the body opens, just like you did at the wall, just playing with that suctioning idea. And the next time you're reaching forward, bring the hands to the front leg and slowly tip over the front leg, just melting the spine. The hands can slide down any amount. Let the hands rest on the leg, the foot, or they can come to either side of the foot on the floor. Lengthen through the back of the neck and just sway the hips from side to side. Imagine as the hips sway that they're helping release tension in the spine, letting it just naturally snake. And then push into the left heel, float the hands, reach them straight back. And two options, you can play with rolling up one vertebra at a time, but it's a lot harder from this position. I just don't want you guys to strain yourself, so you can also push up with the hand. And then lift the arms at the top and take a nice side bend to the left. Drop the left hand and let the whole right side of the body open. Shift the weight into the left foot. Last soccer kick, at least on this side. Kick the right foot forward as the left arm swings, and just pause for a moment and see how effortless you can make this variation of Padangusthasana. And then slowly point the right foot down, set it down in front of you, and drag it back to meet the left. Pause. Notice the difference between sides, and then we'll go through that on the second side. So we'll start on tippy toes. Let the back edge of the body suction in and up to allow the front of the body to open. And then on your next exhale, heels drop, scoop the air up with the hands, hips back. Shift the weight into the right foot now. Drag the left foot back and wide. Option to heel toe the right foot over to the right. And let the whole front of the body open, and then arms to cactus. Take a couple of breaths here and try to feel a sense of wholeness in the body. Up all the way from that left ankle, front of the left hip, all the way along the spine to the crown of the head. And then we'll start to pulse. So the exhale will straighten the leg, scoop the belly in and up, and just round forward. And then inhale to open. And the rounding forward is really subtle. Don't worry about going into a deep forward fold, but just explore this relationship between the front of the body supporting the spine and allowing it to safely round. And the next time you round, the hands can come to the leg and just gently start to melt over the front leg. And don't worry about touching the floor. Actually try to notice what the hamstrings want, what the spine wants, and find a productive place to pause and breathe. And then start to sway your hips from side to side. And imagine it's allowing you to massage out the hamstrings, massage out the muscles in the back, even all the way up to the neck. This gentle swaying is just helping you release any tension. Nice. Then when you feel ready, two options. You can climb the hands up the legs, or you can sweep them back and try rolling up. Just make sure there's no strain anywhere in the body when you do that. And then once you make it to the top, straighten both legs, reach the arms up, side bend to the right this time, drop the right hand and push into the outer edge of the left foot, just letting the whole left side open. Make sure the right side stays long. Sometimes it helps me to actually reach my right arm up to lengthen the right side. And then come back to center, shift the weight into the right heel and swing the left foot forward as the arms drop back for I don't know if we can call this Panagrustasana, but I love it. Just take a moment to find your balance here. And then set the left foot down and rock the weight from side to side. And just for fun, because I really like those leg swings, if you like them too, you can take a couple more on each side, just playing with shifting the weight into the left foot, let the right leg swing, and then setting it down. As the leg swings forward, the arms swing back. And try not to go into your deepest stretch here, but feel how there's just this natural unfolding. And then start going the other way. And then come back to center and just find stillness with the physical body, but notice if anything is moving in a subtler way. Noticing the breath, notice any tingling. And let's just take one final walk around the room and imagine your legs swinging like that. I mean, you don't have to walk in a weird way, but just imagine that sort of freedom of the hip just gliding, the leg just unfurling in front of you. And then make your way back to your mat and let the feet step nice and wide, shifting weight from foot to foot. Keep shifting because that will ensure that you haven't gone too wide. And just start to slowly melt forward. Bend the knees so the spine can just drip out of the pelvis, and then bend one knee at a time for a little opening in the inner leg and a little swaying of the spine. And then plant the hands down and just lower one knee at a time, coming to kneeling. Bring the hips to the heels and just pause for a second seated on the heels. Shift the weight over to the right and just take a nice gentle twist to the right. And imagine the muscles wrapping around the spine, allowing each vertebra to gently participate in this twist. See if you can walk your awareness up from the bottom of the spine all the way to the base of the skull. Keep breathing. And then extend the left leg out and just take a nice gentle side bend over to the left. Breathe into the right side of the body and either hold still or you can add a little bit of shearing by gliding the heart down and then up. So the arm moves, but it's really like a rudder guiding the direction of the heart. And shearing is when our different layers of muscle or fascia slide on one another. And this can really help open, break up crystallization. And just make sure you can breathe and it feels inviting and not strainy. And slowly come up to center. Reach up with both arms and then just soften. Take a load off for a moment. Breathe into the heart. And then glide the left knee on top of the right. Set the hands down and unfurl the legs in front of you. Take one circle forward and then a slow roll up. And then we can go the other way. So the legs tuck in to the right. Twist over to the left. Breathing. And then again, just trace the pathway of the spine. And really try to feel each vertebra rotates a different amount. So it's not about evenly twisting through the whole spine. It's really about just having awareness at every single vertebra and letting it do its thing. And then gently start to untwist, unfurl the right leg, take a nice big side bend over to the right. Let the breath help the body stay buoyant so you feel really long through the spine and spacious in the hip sockets. And then if you'd like to add on the shearing, you can bend the elbow and start to glide down and glide up. And if you find an area where it feels like a little sticky or like there's less movement there, you can pause and breathe into it and then reintroduce a little bit slower movement. And just keep breathing and let this be an exploration. It might feel different than the other side. And when you're ready, push down into the legs to slowly rise up. Let the arms float and let them just be as weightless as possible. And then let them float down. Stack the right leg on top of the left and unfurl the legs in front of you. I'm going to turn just so you can see this last movement. Bend the knees and allow the body to drape forward. And then kick into the heels to roll up one vertebra at a time. Bend and drape. Kick to stack. And you can definitely get away with rolling up without using the front of your body. But because we've done so much of that work, just notice if there's a little more articulation, a little more of that deep core support. And then if you would like to pause in Paschimottanasana, you're welcome to. You don't have to. And just breathe into the back of the spine, into the back of the neck. Feel free to, if your feet are nearby, you can hold on to them with your hands, not to pull yourself deeper, but almost to just allow the spine to lengthen more. So don't pull yourself down, but you can pull the spine longer. And then use your hands, walk them back towards your body and push into your arms to very slowly come back to neutral, and just pause at the top and notice your state of being. Notice any sense of ease in the body. Notice your posture. And notice any deep core support that might be really easy to overlook, but it's there. And see if you can keep this really sweet, subtle symphony of support as you make your way to your meditation seat. You can pause your music. My music never played. I couldn't figure it out. Sachin wasn't here, so I'm sorry I didn't tell you to go to the next track. Hopefully it wasn't too annoying to hear that track for a long time. But now it's over. And I know we haven't had a class like this, like a more restorative class in a while, and so I just want to open the door for you to discover your most supported meditation seat instead of going into like, oh, here's how I always sit, this cushion, this high. You might have a little more sensitivity right now. You might be able to feel what your hip sockets are craving or what your pelvis needs to be more supported. So just give yourself permission to make little adjustments to be more supported. And you're all yogis and you have great posture anyway. But just notice in this moment if anything feels lighter, more supported. It might be physically, it might also be on a subtler layer. And just observe the result of working with your nervous system and staying in a space of building and restoring. Not that anything's wrong with the things that kind of break up our muscles, but just notice the nourishment that has been available through your practice today. And imagine each breath you're able to soak that in so deeply. So all 70 trillion of your cells can be nourished. No cell left behind. Every single part of you can soak in this prana. Then if the inhale draws in the prana, the exhale is the opportunity to really marinate, to just be. And in the yogic tradition, we know our true nature is pure being, pure consciousness, and pure bliss. And so that exhale moment of just being is a huge attainment. And let's just take the next few moments to explore that possibility, sinking in with the breath and just being. And just notice as you work with the breath, any awareness you have of your spine. And in the yogic tradition, beyond the physical spine lies the energetic spine, the Sushumna. You can just imagine the same pathway as your physical pathway, very clear and open and spacious. And so there's the opportunity for energy to travel freely through this space, and you can't control it, you can't make it happen, but you can provide the hospitable environment for that process to unfold. And so for the last moment of our meditation, just visualize that perfect clear pathway. And just like we nourished our cells with our breath, imagine nourishing that pathway with your breath. The inhaling, bringing energy, and the exhale, that moment of surrender where you just allow yourself to be perfect as you are. And that's when this inner process can unfold. And you're welcome to stay upright for as long as it feels useful to you. And you're also welcome to make your way to Savasana. You do have your bolster nearby, so you can end in the same position we started with. You can also choose to just put one of those props underneath your knees for a constructive rest pose. And we'll take the remainder of class to absorb in whatever position you choose. Take your time transitioning from your meditation or your Savasana. Just noticing the breath and the physical body and letting yourself start to exist back in your home while still maintaining your connection to the deep nourishment you've received and the perfect place inside that maybe you've gotten to access or glimpse. And you can have both your outer world as well as this magical inner world. It just takes attention and a wish and consciousness. You can bring hands to heart center. Just imagine the fusing of your inner world and your outer world. So everything that you do in life serves your spiritual growth. And so that your spiritual growth serves the world around you. And just gently bow to your inner commitment. Thank you so much for sharing this practice. Namaste. I hope everybody feels restored and nourished. It's been so sweet to practice with you guys today. I feel like it was a big week for a lot of people in the world, so I hope this is what you needed. It's what you got. I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care, everybody. Thanks for coming, Amanda. Great to see you, Dana. And how's your, what was that?
Oh, just saying that was so wonderful and exactly what I needed.
Oh, yay. My computer is a little quiet. I'm so glad. How's your hip, Diana?
That was good.
Yay. I hope that like restorative space, I'm going to just stop the recording because we send it out to people.